There are some people that are better competitors than others. I'm your worst possible competitor. And please believe me, I get nervous, I take it too seriously. I'm what they call a type A personality, at least occasionally. And so I take a lot of things too seriously. If you take competing too seriously, you're in trouble. All right? I think we all will agree with that, those who are competing. If you take it too seriously, you are in trouble. Because when all is said and done, judging is subjective. And trust me, judging is subjective. So what you got to do is to want to literally become the best that you can be. And as you grow higher up the ladder, understandably, you see better and better speakers. By the time you get to the world stage, I mean, when I competed in the semifinals, there wasn't any way of deciding who was a better speaker. What happens is that at the competition, they judge for who gives the better speech that day. And the better speech is the one that resonates with the people better. And so it becomes very nebulous the higher you go. I won the semifinals. For the finals, I didn't have a chance. I know that because I simply was not prepared for it. But what I discovered is that the people who I found at the finals were ordinary people. And so I would say, don't worry, don't focus on winning. Try telling me that. don't focus on winning. Focus on doing the best that you can be. And as you leave your club, a lot of clubs are mediocre, not Club Awesome. A lot of clubs are mediocre. They allow you to speak overtime. They allow you to speak with crutches. They allow a lot of things that, when you're doing table topics, they allow you to segue. I've never heard of something that is a more greater disservice to table topics than being allowed to segue. Because when you get to competition level, if you don't speak on the topic, you have lost. You can segue as much as you want, you have lost. And so I would say, in conclusion, focus on being the best speaker that you can be. You will never see me speaking without my camera. It's not because I'm a particularly handsome guy. I mean, I still have a ways to go. But it's because my camera is the best evaluator. And so I always evaluate myself. I listen to what they say about the button and so on, but I want to see what I did. So I want to become better and better and better and better. And if along the way I win a competition or two, that's bonus.
All right. Thank you. Thank you also for saying nice things about Club Awesome. You're not a member of Club Awesome. Your Achiever, Club Achievers is yes. The one. Are you a member of others as well, or?
Achievers and Pacesetters in Jamaica.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. And many people here, we don't just have awesome. Well, they're all awesome people, but they're not all Club Awesome members. Important distinction. And for those of you who are in the room for the first time, learning about Toastmasters for the first time, you're probably not thinking in terms of competing. You're just thinking in terms of maybe being able to go to the school board and get up and articulate what it is that they need to change in order to serve their community better. So those, and being better in a job interview, those are basic things that Toastmasters can help you with. But after you've been in it with it for a while, you may want to test your skills against other people. And that's what some of the folks up here have done. And maybe we'll go down the line in a minute, but maybe ask Eric Knight was telling me that he described himself as a newbie in terms of competitions, but not that much of a newbie, more farther along than some of you who haven't tried it. He's competed at area levels. And tell us a little bit about why you decided to compete in the first place, Eric.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Knight. I competed in Area 23 Toastmasters contest, international contest for speech. And our club opened it up just to say, hey, you're here to speak. Give it a shot. I competed in our competition in the club, placed, and competed moved on to the area level. An interesting fact, very nervous at that competition, extremely nervous. the gentleman on the end, Roosevelt, before the competition. Just speak them and said, hey, you're here, relax. You're not competing against anyone else. You're competing against yourself. Do your best. And that's one of the great things about Toastmasters. We learn from each other, we support each other, and I got that embrace and love from everyone during that competition. So after that competition, I moved on to the district. I placed first. The next competition I lost. I came in second place. But the great thing about that competition at the end, I had a parent in the audience who came and said, your speech, it spoke to me. My daughter experiences that. I work as a counselor, a 9th grade counselor. And another person in the audience said, I needed to hear that today. So although I lost the competition, the speech, I came out of there smiling because my message touched someone. And that's what it's about. Speaking to what you said earlier about the passion, having a message. And that just made my day. And I was so excited, more excited than the first place win.
Right.
Because it was a connection for someone else. So that's why I did the competition, and that was what I got out of the first competition and the second.
Yeah. It's not unheard of to have a judge walk up to you afterward and say, well, actually, I'm not supposed to tell you, but you were actually first on my list. Well, why don't we go down the line, actually? We'll start with Louise, and just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your experience with contests and maybe why you would encourage people to compete and how to prepare.
My name is Luis Berveen. I'm a member of a club down in Hollywood, Florida. It's a little bit of a trek for me to get here today. What brought me to compete was I wanted to test my skills against other Toastmasters and see what I needed to improve upon. And let me tell you, I lost many more contests than I've won. David mentioned the 2 I've won. He didn't mention the dozen where I came in second, third, fourth, or didn't even place at all. So you don't expect instant success, like Godfrey's message. It takes work to get from good to better and so on. One of the benefits of competing that I didn't realize, because I lost a lot in the beginning, is that once you move on to higher levels, you get invited to speak at events like this, where if you'd never distinguished yourself, nobody would think to invite you because they don't know who you are. And although it has never been my dream to be on this panel, I do enjoy meeting people like Eric and Godfrey and David, and that's, I think, the real value of competition for me. I meet so many people from outside my club, and I'm able to network professionally and also make friends. Did I answer your question?
Great.
Being a part of Toastmasters have really expanded my mindset in regards to communication. A couple of years ago, I inquired about public speaking by visiting this very same library. I have a book club, and I have found that the members of the book club would be very intimidated when asked to come forward and share what they've learned from their books. Therefore, I started venturing out to find out what can I do to assist the nervousness and help individuals to be able to express themselves. Came to the library, saw a flyer which was placed there by Club Awesome. David was the president at the time, and so I took my phone out and I called immediately. I said, this had to be divinely placed right here just for me. Called David, he invited me out. I think it might have been the Thursday. He invited me to the meeting the Friday morning at 7 a.m. It was only a couple of minutes away from my house, and I thought, how could it be that a club, an organization that really helps people with communication to such an extent be just around the corner from me, and I had no idea about it. Went and visited the club, met Club Awesome, found out that I was not only on a mission to help my book club members, but I was on a mission to help myself. Oftentimes we believe that we can communicate until we're placed in an environment where we're strategically evaluated on areas that we had no idea involves public speaking. My eye contact contact, my body mechanics, my vocal variety, my fears that I had no idea that I had. They were all looked at. The journey has been exceptional. I've been able to invite David, Sean, and other Toastmasters to my book club on several occasions to help my book club members. What's the result? Better self-esteem, bolder, able to communicate, and for myself, the journey, I believe, is continuous. I have learned so much. I've been able to speak better at different events. I've been able to continue to help everyone that I encounter. It is just a journey, and it never ends, and the reward is lasting. Back to you.
Good. But you didn't say anything about competing.
After being a part of Club Awesome for only 2 years, I heard about different competitions, one of which the evaluation competition. And I thought, you should compete. Really, Dorette? Yes, you should compete. And I did. Just as a matter of supporting my club, I went ahead and I competed. And to my surprise, I won at my club's level. Not only won there, but I went to the area. And to my surprise, I won at the area. I was like, okay. And I went to division. And to my surprise, I won at the division. And I went to the district. And like you, I did not win. But what I've learned have put me in the position as a winner so often because I have learned the areas that I need to improve on. I have met great individuals. I've had an experience that I will oftentimes mention and treasure, and I will compete again. Because competition is not only limited to Toastmasters, it's something that we do every day. Not only with others, but with ourselves. On a mission to improve continuously, and that's the journey that I am on.
All right. You got extra time in there. All right. But I always use, when I talk about social media promotion of your club, I often use the example of promoting Dorette's win, and she didn't win district, but we made a big deal out of the fact that she won division. We put a blog post out and a video, and I encourage you to celebrate the talent that's in your club, celebrate the wins at whatever level. Garfield.
Okay. I am the only one who don't know why I'm on the stage. Because I lost at the club level. So I'm new to it. But after the last, it was really a great experience. Because after I lost, somebody said, if you had done that, that would have happened. If you had done that, maybe that would have happened. And I looked at them and I said, you know, I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to take the stage, and I wanted to deliver a speech, and I wanted to hit this point, that point, that point, and I needed to do this. I said, okay. So, well, you lost. I'm like, okay. Well, you get to do what you wanted to do. So competing, as Godfrey says, sometimes it's for yourself. You wanted to accomplish certain things. Plus, I won in many different ways. Because since that, I've done training at my job. I've done so many different things that I would not have done. Because I would never get to the point where I can arrange those butterflies that's in the stomach to fly in one direction. So it was really a good experience, and I think everybody should compete because competition does reveal who you are.
And in his humility, he forgot to mention it. He went on to become the president of his club.
Daniel, you may have competed in other things, but I know you as a table topics winner on a number of occasions. Why don't you talk, so the fall contests are humorous, speaking, and evaluation, so people have a while to think about table topics. But how do you prepare for table topics? You don't know what you're going to say. You don't know what the question's going to be. Daniel, tell us a little bit about how you prepare on your feet.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I am Daniel Perdome, and I've been a Toastmaster for 17 years. I had come across Toastmasters through a friend of mine who was vice president at Union Planters Bank when Union Planters was around. And I said to him, I don't know how much of a benefit I'm going to get out of Toastmasters because I've done presentations at American Express for employee satisfaction. My wife and I both work there. We're both gone from there now. He said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I remember his words. People say that knowledge is power, but knowledge is nothing unless you do something with that knowledge. So the use of knowledge is power. Very important. He said, you're coming with me. We made it there 7 o'clock on a Friday morning. I'm not a morning person. But if you want to be with hitters, many of them get up early. After I made it into the club, got my feet wet, there was a gentleman by the name of Ira Warder, who was a lieutenant with the Division of Insurance Fraud. He was an insurance cop. He investigated banks, mortgage brokers, insurance companies for fraud. And I remember one morning we were leaving Broken Woods Country Club. And he said to somebody else, but I was within earshot, I would rather do a raid at 3 a.m. with guns drawn than to have to get up there and do table topics. And I said, that's it. That's what I'm going to become good at. If somebody like him is afraid of table topics, I want to become good at it so that people will say, wow, how did you build this skill? The thing about table topics, and again, this is advice from another Toastmaster, John Lawson, who is phenomenal. He has this southern drawl that just captivates you. He said, come up with 6 topics. Just come up with 6 topics. And no matter what that table topic master throws at you, you can cover it in one of those 6 topics. And so that's what I did. As far as the fear factor, you lose it. After a while, you just don't have the fear factor. Because when you get up there, you can start speaking until you get your thoughts together. For some people, they use and well and so and scratch their chin to try and think what they're going to say. But if you just start speaking, your thoughts will come to you as to what is appropriate to say in this environment, how can I make my point, and leave here feeling pretty good about myself. I think the reason that I do better at table topics, as opposed to, for some people, they say, you know what, table topics is the worst thing, I'd rather prepare a speech. But you've got to prepare all week. You have to prepare from the time that you leave one meeting until the time that you get back. And in our busy lifestyles, who's got time to sit down and work on a speech? You know what? Just catch me off guard. I'll swim. Of course, the speeches are important. The speeches are important. But think of the time that goes into them. If you have props, Fernando Lopez. He's our props man. He's got a prop for everything. I can't imagine the time that goes into his props. He's probably spent more time at his props than I've spent on presentations. Recognize where your strength is. My strength is getting caught flat-footed and coming out of it with still being intact. David?
All right. Roosevelt, I know you've been involved in contests in at least 2 ways. You've competed, and you've also organized contests as an area director. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with contests and what's your advice for the group?
Fellow Toastmasters, first of all, congratulations to all my fellow panelists right here. My name is Roosevelt Jean-François. A contest is just an event. It's a moment where we gather together outside our club and to bring our best and to share what we know with others. And also we'll be learning from the best in our endeavor. As a contestant, I remember I just joined Club Voice. It was March 2013. And 1 week after, there was a contest. And there was an advantage to be in a little club, because you don't need to compete at your club level. You are chosen.
And your experience, that was what happened to me. I was chosen, and my very first contest was at the area level, and I won. I didn't know what I didn't know. I was just naive. I was not prepared. But only one thing is that I had nothing to lose. That is a contest. You always win at a contest. That's number one. And I think, Luis, you have said it, and Eric, you have said it. You come out better than when you got in. That's number one. And also, as an organization, Toastmasters International has a guideline. And for you to be better in this craft that you have decided to be in, you need to understand the rules. You need to understand what makes the best, the great, great. And when you understand the rules and when you know the environment, you will become better. At that, you decide to do. I'm so far happy to be part of Toastmasters International because this gives me an opportunity where every single day I have an opportunity to better myself. And as I always said, you are not in Toastmasters to be good at Toastmasters. You are Toastmasters to fail, and when you go out there and people say, what are you doing? You're that good, and that's my take.
All right. So part of the point of having this many people on a panel, well, right now? One more question? I have a question for the panel, for anybody who wants to answer, which is how to deal with the feedback that you get when you win at some level and you're trying to make it to the next level. Because I'm thinking of one of our club members, Marilyn Brown, went up the level, and she was overwhelmed. Everybody wanted to give her a joke to add, or everybody gave her a tip. And it was overwhelming to her. If she'd taken all that advice, she would have wound up with a 3-hour speech. Right? How do you digest the feedback that you get when you do win and you're trying to get to the next level and you're trying to make that speech better? Luis?
He's absolutely right. When you do contests, people come to you before, people come to you after. You have to understand the style of the speaker that's giving you feedback, because that style might not be your style. And I'll give you an example. There's a very, very accomplished Toastmaster in my club. I'm not going to say his name, but he's been in the organization 33 years, which means I couldn't walk or speak or go to the bathroom when he joined the club right now. Every single speech he's given in 32 years, he immediately starts with the formality, fellow Toastmasters, Mr. Contest Master, honored guests. That is his style. That's not the only style. There's no rule in Toastmasters that says you can't acknowledge all those people in the middle of your speech, or in the end of your speech, or when there's a one-liner that you can blend into that, as many people have done effectively in the past. Now, he has a good argument for why you should start out that way. But we also have different styles. And I think recognizing, hey, this person has valuable things to say, and I'll consider it, but it's not for me to do right now. That, I would say, that level of analysis is very important when you're moving on.
Anybody else? Lester, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think that, okay, forgive me if I quote myself. In all you do, to yourself be true. But when all is said and done, the battle fought will not be won in any place under the sun other than in thyself. If you know where you want to go, then it becomes easier to do like what the duck does. Anybody knows what a duck does? It puts its bill into the whatever. It takes up everything, and guess what? Puts back out most of what it takes up. And only retains that which is consistent with its goal and mission. If you don't know what your goal is, if you don't know what you want to become, if you have no identity, if you have no quote-unquote guiding personality, then you'll be tossed and torn and pulled in all sorts of directions, and it can be a living hell. So my simple advice is, one, camera. All right? Always take the advice of the camera. The camera never lies. Take the advice of the camera, know who you are, know where you want to go, and then you literally listen to all the advice, but you assimilate it and take only that which will help you to become a better you.
All right. So forgive me for being selfish. I wanted to hear the answer to that question, but who else has a question? Oh, come on. I made you wait. You've been thinking about it. What do you have? What question do you... Lois, you have a question.
Oh, let's see. Okay. This is for anyone up there. The first time you ever competed, what actually made you sign your name up on the evaluation or the table topics or whatever? What was it that allowed you to sign up?
Other club members.
Voluntold.
Well, in regards to the evaluation, I recall when I just started Club Awesome, it was a very short period of time, and wanting to be involved, I enrolled for the evaluator position, and I was told you cannot be an evaluator until you've been a part of the club for like maybe say 6 months or so. And I thought, that is exceptional, and that makes sense. If you're new to a club and organization, as much as you want to be able to do something, it is only right that you learn what it entails before you're able to do it. So I heard that evaluation is so important that it takes you a time period before you're able to do it. And to me, that was a challenge. I stood out the time period and I immediately started to sign up for different evaluation roles, because I believe that if you're going to take a class, attend a workshop, whatever information that you gather from that, just like Daniel made mention, you have to be able to utilize it. You get that knowledge and you have to be able to apply that knowledge. And I think evaluation is the most important aspect of Toastmasters, and I believe that if I work on that skill in that particular area, not only will I help myself to be able to listen better, to be able to help other individuals, but it will help me to be able to critique. And therefore, I not only evaluate when I'm assigned as an evaluator, I evaluate at all times. And that's something that I would encourage us all to do. You don't have to be assigned as an evaluator. Always have your notepad, and while someone is speaking, a speech, table topic, whatever, always be looking out for what you have learned, see if that person have applied it, or ways in which they can improve. So therefore, that was my mission. I want to be able to partake in the aspect that I thought was the most important in Toastmasters, and hence not only help myself, but help others.
All right. I've got a red light over here. I'm already in trouble. The cops are after me. I think we better wrap up and move on. We have a great program. These guys are going to be around, so ask them questions when we have a break a little bit later on. Let us bring back our mistress of ceremony. I need you to get off the stage.